Hello and welcome back to Trains Up North. In this episode I show you how to improve your Code 100 track. So here I have a piece of Code 100 flexi track and I've put a mark here, and between that and the end of that piece of rail is roughly 1/3 of the length of this piece of track. And it's almost double the length of a short straight. So the reason I've done this is because this piece of track is for the heritage line, so it's going to be jointed. Originally the track would have been bullhead, but it has been replaced at some point by flat bottom. If you want bullhead you can buy that, and you don't need to do any modification because the sleeper spacing's right. So what I've done is I've got a piece of aluminium angle which just sits nicely over the rails, and I line that up with my mark at the end of the track, and then just run this fine tooth saw over it. I'm not cutting all the way through the rail, all I'm doing is cutting just deep enough so that I get that distinctive click to clack sound. If you do cut all the way through the rail, it doesn't matter. All you need to do is just put extra droppers on there just to make sure that the electric can go through the rails. So now I'll just move the angle along and we'll do the same again further up. As you can see here, I've got a nice little notch out without going all the way through the rail. So now what we're going to do is turn the track over and we're going to count back 3 sleepers from the notch. We're going to do this on each side. And then what we're going to do is, just after the 3rd sleeper, we're just going to cut through plastic that holds the sleepers together, leaving the first 3 intact. We're just going to get rid of the 4th sleeper along, and then what we're going to do is just cut through the plastic that holds the remaining sleepers, leaving the last 3 intact. We're then going to get this spacer tool from Railway Laser Lines just to space the sleepers out. They're not paying me to say this, I'm a satisfied customer, that's all. Hopefully you can see the website there. So what I'm going to do is just cut out the remainder of the sleepers. I'm just using this little craft saw to do this, but a knife would work just as well. So now we've cut through the base on all these sleepers, you can see that they're free to move up and down, so we can slide them. The reason we cut out the fourth sleeper was just to act as a marker so that we didn't cut through the remaining 3 sleepers. Just get rid of that extra bit of plastic there. The reason I've left the last 3 sleepers is because on jointed track the sleeper spacing does go closer together at the joints, so the last 2 or 3 sleepers either side of the joint will be closer, and then they will space out a little bit more in the middle of the track. So 00 track and HO track is exactly the same, however they are different scales. So in the UK, when we get our 00 track, the sleeper spacing tends to be wrong. If you get the new bullhead track from Peco, sleeper spacing on that is pretty much spot on, but the traditional Code 100 flat bottom rail from Peco, Hornby and any other manufacturer I've come across, the spacing's out. So we could build the track from scratch and get it absolutely perfect. However, for me, it's too much hassle, life's too short. I do have a really good friend who makes his own track, hats off to him, it's not for me. We could go down the route of things like Code 75 track, which does look a little bit better. However, if you're running older locos, you may encounter issues, as older locos tend to have a deeper flange on the wheel. Personally, I've just stuck with Code 100 because it's what I've always used, and every layout I've built is basically I've just reused the track off the previous layout. Then what we do is we just move the sleepers backwards and forwards, manipulating them into position using the sleeper gauge, just to make sure that you've got it right. It does take a little bit of time, and if you do knock them, they will move, so you just got to take time, be patient. So starting between the 3rd and 4th sleeper, I'm just moving the sleepers around to roughly get them in position. You will find that you've got too many sleepers, so you just have to remove those. Any little bits of plastic that are still there, just pull them off. And to remove the sleeper, you just get in there and just give it a little bit of a pull and it'll come straight off. So we've got all the sleepers roughly in place now, so we're just going to put the sleeper spacer on top and just manipulate them just to make sure they're in the right place, and then we're just going to move the sleeper spacer backwards and forwards just to ensure that all the sleepers are square. So we know we've got too many sleepers, so I'm just going to pop a couple of extra out here, and then what I'm going to do is just move the sleeper gauge along and use that to continue until we've done the panel. So the piece of track at the back, that's the one that's got the modified sleeper spacing. The one at the front, that's the one with the factory finished sleeper spacing. And I hope you'll agree that the one at the back it looks tons better, looks more realistic, and it turns it from being a toy train set into a model railway. When you look at them side by side, you can see the difference straight away. When the track's ballasted, it'll look even better. So, is it really worth it? Yes, I think it is. Is it a faff? Definitely. But it's worth it. So that's the track in place. Held it in place with copy decks. The track at the back that's slightly raised, that's the one that's been modified. The concrete track in front of it hasn't. I'm sure you'll agree the one at the back just looks better. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and until next time, goodbye.